Dress to impress. If you are a gentleman, you need to have a conservative interview suit. That means having a jacket, suit jacket, suit pants, the whole 9 yards. If you're in a creative industry, so if you're in digital media, cinema, some of those other places, if you're in construction management, again, think about what your industry says and always try to dress a level above what you think you're going to need. So for CM guys, at least a shirt and a tie, and maybe jeans are okay, or I would say not even jeans, but it needs to be at least khakis or slacks at that point. If you are engaged in a corporate interview, a suit is required, just as part of the process. So you need to make sure as guys that your belt matches your shoes and that your shoes match your socks. So they're all brown, they're all black. If you wear blue shoes, again, probably blue socks, maybe a black belt at that point. But again, you really need to make sure that things are color coordinated. For ladies, I would say for you, thinking about your blouse, making sure that everything is covered and covered well. There was a student actually who went and interviewed for Vogue magazine a few years back. And she looked at all the glamorous covers of all the models. And she thought, man, I'm going to look like one of the models when I go in. She chose a not very conservative top for her interview. And halfway through the interview, or the person who was ushering her around said, hey, you know, I need to tell you, and I hope this doesn't affect your interview process, but yes, our models sometimes look a little scandalous. However, we at corporate dress very professionally and very conservatively, and what you have on is a little over the line. So even in a place that's a fashion leader, even in their corporate culture, again, the reality is that they dress conservatively oftentimes in that way. So again, kind of try to understand what the culture is, but again, dress appropriately. Also, ladies, I say this very, very sensitively, but please make sure that your skirt is long enough. There's nothing more awkward than to be the male in an interview and have someone walk in with a skirt that they think is long enough and just be creating a very awkward setting. So please make sure that it's below the knees, that it's appropriate in its length. Again, it will help you out in the long run. Make sure that you wear deodorant. You will sweat, you will get nervous. That's okay. That's part of the natural process. Just make sure that they don't smell you at that point. Also, wear very little perfume or cologne. I get an opportunity every once in a while to go into J. Alvin on a Friday night, and it smells like Cologne Central in there at times. You guys tend to bathe yourselves in that stuff to try and impress the ladies, which is great in the dating situation. In an interview, it can end it quickly. There are a lot of people with allergies that are related to cologne and fragrance and that kind of a thing. If you wear any at all, wear very little of it, and I would really encourage you probably not to wear any at that point. You have no idea what the interviewer is going to be allergic to, and the last thing you want is for them to end your interview short because they can't breathe in that room. So again, just for the safety's sake, I would say wear none at all if at all possible. Remove nose, eyebrow, lip rings, tongue studs, and any extra earrings. For females, 2 earrings are ideal. Again, this has kind of changed a little bit. Again, you need to look representable. I would say like eyebrow rings, tongue studs, even nose rings, nose piercings need to be removed, at least for the interview, and then after that they'll have a policy in their employment manual or handbook that will dictate what you're allowed to do. If you have tattoos, you need to cover them up. Again, there's no judgment call on that, but again, the employer expects that those will often be covered up in the workplace, so you need to do that for an interview as well. Make sure that you're well groomed. Guys, I know that beards are coming back in style again. I'm excited for that. I hope my wife is someday too. But the reality is you need to know what the culture is at the place you're working for. There are a lot of places where you will be the only person with a beard at that point. And even if you do keep your beard, which is great, make sure that it's well groomed. Make sure you've given it a good trim, that you've thinned it out, and that you look well presentable at that point. Get a good haircut beforehand. No shaggy, floppy hair, but again, you need to be well presented.